Hey, it's Kamori, and today we're going to be making Asuka's yellow sundress from Evangelion. For Asuka's dress, we're going to be using Simplicity 1606, and we're going to be using the bodice and skirt from View A. However, we're going to be adjusting the straps so that they match her design and also shortening the skirt. So we're going to start by making the bodice portion of it. So we're just going to cut the pieces out and sew them together according to the instructions included with the pattern. And we're going to be doing this twice so that we have one piece for the front of the bodice and one piece for the lining. For the material, I'm just using some light yellow cotton, and I'm just using the same material for both the outer portion of the bodice and the lining. To make the straps of the dress, we're going to cut 4 rectangles out of some yellow fabric. Then we're going to fold them in half and sew them together along the side to create a tube. Turn the tubes right side out and press them flat. Then on one end, we're going to roll the edges over and sew them in place. Position the ties onto the front and back of the bodice and sew them in place. Putting right sides together, sew the lining to the front of the bodice along the top so that the ties are sandwiched in between. Turn the bodice right side out, then we're going to sew it along the sides, top stitch along the top, and then sew it back down the side to keep them together. To make the skirt, we're then going to cut out these skirt pieces. I ended up shortening the length from the pattern. Then we're going to zigzag around the edges to keep them from fraying and sew them together along these side seams. Then, putting right sides together, we're going to sew the skirt onto the bodice. I also went ahead and zigzagged any remaining raw edges, and I also added a little bit of top stitching around the waist to keep everything in place. And I also tied the straps in bows on either side so they won't get in the way when we are sewing later on. Sew the dress together along the center back seam and insert a zipper. I also added a hook and eye to keep it closed up top as well. Then hem the skirt to the desired length using a rolled hem. And with that, Asuka's dress is done. I'm pretty happy with how this one turned out. Despite making about 3 mock-ups for the bodice, it still ended up puckering, and I would have pretty much had to remake it in order to fix it. So I did add a couple darts on either side of the bodice. This pattern was made to be very, very customizable based on the size and also on the bust size, and I think that may have made it a little bit harder to work with. It's a little too customizable. So if I was to remake this dress in the future, I would probably just skip that and move on to a different pattern. But I still hope you found this video helpful. For more cosplay sewing tutorials, please subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.